was meant to be the center of the city because, as I already explained to you about Christian number 4, he lived in this part of the city. You can see all the streets there are more bended and small. It's the Middle Ages town of Copenhagen. But he decided to make the new city, the new Copenhagen. You can see with the streets like a grid. So he actually doubled the size of Copenhagen with the Renaissance city of Copenhagen. Also, he came to Holland and a little bit like Donald Trump. He made Donald Trump, you know, he has his Trump Tower, Christian number 4. He made an artificial island with a commercial city named after himself, Christianshavn. Also, the Danish Navy at the time of Christian number 4, it was near the parliament, where we have the parliament. It was where the king lived that time. But he made another man-made artificial island here for the Danish Navy, where it was situated for hundreds of years. But the King's New Square, Kongens Nytorv, was meant to be the center of the city, but it never came to be. But it's still okay, now we're doing the circle line, the metro. Metro who will conclude all the central squares of Copenhagen, so it doesn't look so nice right now. We have a green fence, we have the construction team working, but also we have the Royal Ballet, the Royal Theatre there, founded by Auguste de Bonneville. He founded all the classical ballets in the early 19th century. We have a magazine called Magazine du Nord. It also sounds a little bit French. We have the very expensive hotel called d'Angleterre, which means England in French language. And for some strange reason, we also have the French embassy at Kongens Nytorv. So some people regard this part as the French neighborhood of Copenhagen. Okay, then we move up to the harbor. Yeah, what to say about the harbor? We have the Danish queen. She lives in the royal palace here. It's called Amalienborg. And then we have a huge church there called the Marble Church. It's a perfect axis. And over here we have the Opera House, founded by the richest man of Denmark. He was called Herr Møller. When he turned more than 90 years, he wanted us all to remember him as a nice guy. So therefore he funded an opera house for Copenhagen. So here we have, you can say we have a perfect axis, the axis of the power of the church, the power of the monarchy, and the power of the money. We move a little bit further up here. We have the tourist attraction number 1 of Denmark, the Little Mermaid. Do you know the story about the Little Mermaid? Okay, the Little Mermaid, it's not at all like Walt Disney. She's not called Ariel. She doesn't have seashells covering her nipples, but because, as you know, nipples is the most dangerous thing the Americans know. No, it's an unfulfilled love story between a mermaid and a prince. And the mermaid, she wants to be human, to be with the prince. So she goes to a lot of tests to have legs, to be human. And finally, in the end, she comes to meet the prince. But it's very painful for her to walk, but she has legs. But what happened? The prince, he won't know of her. So she go away, she dies from pain and sorrow. Her soul reunites with the ocean, her soul goes to the sky. No happy ending, but Danish cultural heritage. But what happened, and why is that statue so famous? No one really knows. It was founded in 1913 by a guy called Eriksen, and it's his wife who was the model. Of course, this part of the harbor was where everyone had their Sunday walk, also that time. But then we move up to the period after the Second World War, where mass tourism developed, and some American journalists, they came to Copenhagen and they want to write a little bit about Copenhagen and this fairy tale city with Hans Christian Andersen and Tivoli. And remember Tivoli, it's we even go there ourselves, so that's a recommendation. Take your beloved ones with you, and early afternoon go to Tivoli. The Little Mermaid and Tivoli, that's the best we have. That's what we show the tourists. But so very fast, the Little Mermaid developed to be an icon for Copenhagen, like a mannequin piss. You know, this small statue in Brussels, the little guy stay peeing. He's the icon of Brussels. Then the Little Mermaid became an icon of Copenhagen and very fast developed into tourist attraction #1 of Denmark. Okay, what happened then? You know, remember maybe the early 60s, maybe you lived in the early 60s yourself, or maybe you read about it in a history book, that it was a period of the happenings and the period of the provos and the period of the beatniks. So what happened? A guy, someone we don't know who, cut off the head of the Little Mermaid. And it was investigated by the police as a real murder. Actually, at the front page of the biggest Danish tabloid press, Ekstra Bladet, it was a picture of the Little Mermaid without the head, and then the text said, "Who killed the Little Mermaid?" And really, it was really serious. The Danish police was investigating the suburbs of Copenhagen with dogs to find the head, but they couldn't find the head. What happened then? Then it was in fact a very bad artist, and also a naughty guy, but very good of promoting himself in the media. He was Jørgen Nash. He came to the police and he said, "I know who killed the Little Mermaid." And so the police replied, "So do we, you did it." But then Jørgen Nash replied, no, but you can't really tell, can you? And then this was going back and forth in the media, and this guy, Jørgen Nash, became extremely famous in Denmark and maybe also in some other parts of Europe, southern Sweden and so on, for being the killer of the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. But then in the 80s, when I was a child, it was actually someone who cut the arm of the Little Mermaid. And it was the heyday of the story of Jørgen Nash. Again, we had the talk. But then in 98, again someone cut the head of the Little Mermaid. But this time no one lifted an eyebrow, because it was already done, and probably we didn't have Facebook that time, but we have digital camera probably already. Then in 2003, I think, it was another crazy guy. Of course, he was also artist. I forgot his name. His name is Hornslet. He put dynamite under the statue of the Little Mermaid, put it under the stone. He recorded with a video camera. Then he blew, of course this Hornslet, he was an artist, crazy artist. So he blew the statue up, and you could see on the video the statue topple into the water. And of course, because he was this crazy artist, he exhibited the video in an art gallery. But the most bad thing about the Little Mermaid maybe was in 2012. It was the World Expo. In China, in Shanghai, and China is a very important business trade partner for Denmark. We really needed to participate in this world exhibition and exhibit something. We needed to exhibit something we produce in Denmark. But what do we produce in Denmark? Lego, it's already produced in China. Carlsberg, it's already produced in China. Lundbeck, Novo, which produces medicine, probably already they produce their medicine in China. And the windmills is also produced in China. What do we produce in Denmark except of the monarchy and the Little Mermaid? Practically nothing. So because of that, the Danes decided that we would send the Little Mermaid, not the Little, but the fairy tales of Hans Christian Andersen, I mean. But because of that, we decided to send the tourist attraction #1 of Denmark to the World Exhibition in China, in Shanghai. So we did, and we put up the widescreen at the place of the Little Mermaid. And of course now we're a little bit out of the season. Probably not, maybe it's only one tourist bus down there now and a few tourists. But in the peak season it's maybe 10 tourist buses, and it's black with people. And also in 2012 it was like that, full of tourists, and of course also a lot of Chinese tourists doing selfies with their selfie stick on their mobile phone. In front of this widescreen transmitting 24 hours The Little Mermaid from Shanghai. So welcome to...
Bare lad den køre, For det første skal jeg lige gøre, så jeg er helt sikker på, at der bliver det guitar på. Du er ved at blive stresset, lyder det så. Du skal slappe af og tale langsommere, ikke for hurtigt. Det haster ikke, så vi kører og 5 minutter mere.
Okay.
Men det er super godt, det du siger.
Okay.
Rigtig, rigtig godt. Men hellere langsomt
Ja.
tydeligt, end det gør alligevel ikke noget.
Nej. Okay.
Hvis jeg gør sådan der, så betyder det slap af.
Stress af. Ja.
Ja,
Okay, but that was The Little Mermaid. Now we move further out to the harbor. What?
Du kom til at tale ind over den her, det skal du ikke gøre.
Okay. What do we see in the harbor? What do we see? Okay, we can see at now current we don't have any navy in Copenhagen anymore. We have a few old vessels, but that's retired vessels. One of the vessels it's Peder Skram. It was also famous in the 80s. I remember the captain of Peder Skram. He was interviewed all the time in the news because he was sailing a little bit north of Copenhagen with his vessel. Peder Skram, the name of the vessel, he was a hero from the Danish Navy back in the day. But by mistake, this vessel fired off the missile, destroying a whole area of summer houses. But it was out of the seasons, no one get killed. But he was interviewed all the time in the news. How can that happen? How can that happen? This missile was called the Oops missile. We also see another vessel at the old Navy harbor. It's a submarine. Currently we don't have any submarines in Denmark, but we have the retired one. It's by the way, this